Hey guys, this is Mainely Watches and I'm Nick. This is the third installment of my series entitled This or That, where I'm trying to decide on a daily wearer beater watch between two remarkably similar wearing titanium dive watches. The Seestern S430 and the Citizen Fujitsubo. If you haven't watched the first two episodes of This or That, I would suggest you do so. The first episode, I detail the Citizen, this is the Seestern, and the second episode, I get into the Citizen. Remarkable watches, both of them, very good watches, full titanium cases, both of them coming in at 65 grams. They wear exactly alike. And I've decided one of these has to go. I don't have room in the collection for them both. I really want to thank all of you who've commented and provided feedback. Overwhelmingly, people seem to be supporting the Citizen and keeping the Citizen. There hasn't been a whole lot of love for the Seestern. So yeah, thank you for everybody who's commented. And again, I am going to have to decide for myself which it's going to be. It's a tough choice, this or that. They're both great watches. They both wear very nicely, and it's a tough choice. This has been a very thought-provoking process to review them both and consider the pros and cons to each, and look inside what to me is important in a daily wearer. On the wrist today, I have my Aqua Star. This is a Deep Star 2. Really cool vintage inspired diver, but not a daily wearer. We're going to take one last look at both of these watches, the Seestern and the Citizen, and I'm going to tell you what my decision is. Here we are. It's decision time. Now, this has been a very interesting journey for me. I've had a chance to really reflect on both of these watches. As I mentioned at the very beginning of that first episode of This or That, I'm going to decide which of these I'm going to keep and which I'm going to move on from as a daily wear beater watch. Now, first off, I've got to say there is a price difference between them. The Citizen is roughly twice the price of the Seestern. So I'm keeping that in mind, although that's not really going to affect my opinion or my decision either way. I'm going to look at these watches purely as how they will function as a beater watch. Now, I've said this several times, but these watches wear remarkably similar. In fact, on the wrist, you cannot tell the difference. They both come in at 65 grams. Dimensionally, they're more or less the same. The lugs on the Citizen are a little bit longer, but, for all intents, they wear the same, and the weight is the same, they feel the same, and they're both good watches. So I'm not going to get into a detailed review here on this one. If you want to see the full reviews on each watch, you can go back in my channel. I've got the links posted in the description, and you can see the detailed review on each watch. But we've got the Seestern, this is the S430, and we have the Citizen Promaster Fujitsubo. And these are the two that I'm trying to decide between. Let's just start out with the cases. And these watches are both grade 2 titanium cases. In terms of the quality of the case and the case finishing, the Seestern is just regular grade 2. You can see there are some scratches on here already. The finishing is, there's nothing really bad to say about it. It's all nicely brushed, no sharp edges. The Citizen case is grade 2 titanium, but they have put some kind of a coating on here. They call it their super titanium, and it's a Duratec coating. As you can see, there are no scratches on the Citizen case. And again, this is beautifully finished, all very smooth. So as far as the case execution goes and the case for daily use, I'm going to give the nudge here to the Citizen. Whatever they've done with that case coating, it's definitely performing better than the Seestern with the unprotected titanium. Looking at the bezels next. The Seestern has a titanium bezel with a nice coin edge, ceramic insert, and it is fully lumed. As you've seen in my other video, the bezel action on this watch is also pretty good. It's a fairly crisp operating bezel, not a lot of play in it, so I like the bezel on the Seestern. The Citizen bezel. First issue, it's very smooth and highly polished. You're not getting a good grip. I also don't care for the bezel action here. The bezel action on this it's one of the worst ones I have seen in a dive watch. And at this price point, yeah, I'm not too happy with it. I'm also not really keen on the fact that it's that high polished stainless. And yeah, it's just not a grippy bezel, and there is that lateral play in here. So I'm going to give the Seestern the nudge here on the bezel. I think the Seestern has the better bezel of the two. Well, fully lumed. The Seestern bezel, of course, is lumed, where the Citizen just has a lume pip at the 12 o'clock. But as you saw in the time lapses, they both performed very well in lume. So I'm going to call that a draw. Crowns. Seestern has a fairly nice diameter titanium crown. The Citizen, and I kind of mentioned that as one of my gripes, has a relatively small, it looks like polished stainless steel crown. Both of these crowns do the job. The Citizen doesn't have crown guards, although it is slightly recessed into the case. There is a very slight recess, you can see. The Seestern does, of course, have crown guards. So just on the pure function of the crown's functionality, I'm going to give the nudge to the Seestern. I think the Seestern has a better crown. Dial execution. I think it's probably a draw, and again, this is highly subjective. It's my own personal opinion. On one hand, I prefer the fact that the Seestern is a no date. In a work watch, I don't need a date, and it's just another thing to have to adjust. So I kind of like the fact that the Seestern is a no date. The Seestern's indices are also nice chunky blocks that are applied, and they look good. The Citizen, I believe the face is just pressed into the metal, and then they've applied the lume. So I'm going to say the faces are a draw. The Seestern, obviously, it's a homage to the Tudor Pelagos, which, good or bad, I mean, it's a subjective taste, but, it is what it is. The Citizen, it is a homage to a certain mill sub, but it also does harken back to the Challenge Diver from the 80s, so it does have some of its own originality there. The Citizen, of course, has the Mercedes style hands, the Seestern with the snowflake hands, but I'm going to give the watch faces, I'm just going to go with a draw here. Finally, we have to talk about movements, and that's where really some of the big differences are under the hood. The Seestern, you have a Seiko NH38, and the Citizen has a Miyota 9 Series, 9051. No doubt the Miyota is the better movement of the two. It's a premium movement. It's a more expensive movement. You can see the Citizen is running quite a lot smoother because it's a 4 Hertz, it's a high beat. The Seestern, it's running at 3 Hertz, it's a little blockier. So hands down, I'm going to give the nudge to Citizen with that 9 series Miyota. It's an excellent movement. And in terms of accuracy, you know, I showed you the real-world accuracy. The Citizen was running a little better than the Seestern. Having said that, the NH38 that Seestern has put in here is a good, reliable workhorse movement. So I can't knock it. It's a good movement. It's not something you'd ever take to a watchmaker and have repaired. So, you know, it's if something happens, you probably just end up junking the movement. In terms of making a decision on them, this is going to get tough. Technically, these are both very good watches. Both of them are well made and use good quality materials. They both keep good time, they're reliable, they're lightweight and comfortable to wear. So yeah, in short, they do everything you would expect of a modern watch. And they do this at reasonable prices. However, and here's the caveat, they're both dull and uninspired. Wearing these watches is like going on a date with a mortician to Taco Bell. Nobody's going to stop you and ask you about either of these watches unless they want to know what time it is. They're certainly not conversation starters. Neither of these have a particularly original design, and in my reflection on them, they don't elicit any emotion when I wear them. They both fall flat when it comes to having any charm or character. So, after a lot of consideration, I have decided to part ways with both of these watches. And of course, like any irrational watch collector, I've decided on one watch to take place of both of these as my daily beater. So, this is the watch that I'm going to keep as my daily wear. I've got it under a cover. This is a watch which oozes charm and character. It's a watch built out of determination and grit. It's a watch which is rugged, simple, and reliable. It's a watch you can use to open a beer bottle cap. This is a watch you can use as a hammer to loosen a rusty bolt. It's a real tool watch. It's also a watch that has a near cult following. This particular watch brand has been to outer space. It's a watch with a nearly 60-year production legacy, and it's likely made on machinery that dates back to the 1950s. It's a watch with a lot of quirks, dubious fit and finish, and what I can best describe as mediocre by any modern Swiss, Japanese, or Chinese standards. It's very agricultural. It's sort of like a John Deere tractor from the 40s. And this is from a manufacturer who makes everything in-house, from the movement to the case, every screw, gear, jewel, the crystal, nothing is outsourced. For the grand unveiling, this is it. Yes, it's a Vostok Amphibia. So who saw that coming? Well, there you have it, guys. On this shocking note, we'll see you next episode when we take a closer look at this Cold War legend, the Vostok Amphibia. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, that next episode, it's probably going to be titled The Bezel Fell Off, because it did. See ya.